So tonight I've talked about curb appeal and how we fixed the facade of a house from a boring house where there's no coordination between the columns and the facade and the spaces behind it, nor is there really a good coordination between the front door and then the two sets of French doors on either side. So what we did is we used geometry and the golden rectangle, which is right here, and the square. And so a golden rectangle is a square plus a golden rectangle. And so I've got a series of golden rectangles, square, golden rectangle, square, golden rectangle, square, golden rectangle to compose a facade, and then to guide where I would simplistically, where we were going to put the columns. And we made the doors narrower so they were centered in between each of these sets of columns that we were putting on the facade. We changed the front steps too, but it's just a lovely facade when we got finished. And so I'm ready to answer questions. Please give me your questions. My next TikTok Live will be March 18th at 6 p.m.
Central time.
Central time. So 6 p.m. Central time, March 18th. I'll be on TikTok Live. So March 18th, Architect Talk, a new segment which is not fix the floor plan, but it is curb appeal. And so we'll do, my era, we're going to do design on the rocks, and we're going to have me interviewing another architect in a different part of the country, Matt Imperato, and we're going to his TikTok Live, or his TikTok monitor is architect_talk. And so we're going to have a talk, and I'm going to interview Matt, and I think it should be fun. So if you have any questions you'd like to ask me, and I'm going to interview Matt, and I think it should be fun. So if you have any questions you'd like to ask me either before or once we're on live. We'll have both of us. You get to see my face, his face, and we'll talk about architecture, what got us interested in architecture, and what keeps us interested in it. So did you ink that? I did ink the elevator. And we even watercolored it for the owner, but that's old school stuff that takes more time than I can do on a TikTok Live. At any rate, Martin, welcome. You do tons of decorative outdoor spaces. That's great. Use the geometry lessons I gave tonight on composing your creations, and they'll be even better. So you're in school. Let me see, Kevin Cognier. What's the best field to get into, CAD, Revit, or drafting? A lot of people use Revit. Revit is 3D, whereas CAD is just 2D. I use ArchiCAD, which is 3D, and it's a different program, but it is, that's what we do all of our drawings now. And it allows me to give 3D models to my clients as well as to the contractors, so they get to view these models on their cell phones even on site, so they understand three-dimensionally or virtually what it is I want them to build, and they get to see it. The owners, by the same token, get to see what we're proposing, and they can make their comments and reactions as if it's in virtual reality. So it's wonderful. I did not make this on Revit. I used ArchiCAD. It's very similar. It does 3D. It's a BIM program like Revit, but it's, I think, an up-and-coming. It actually was founded in 1983 before Revit, but it's mostly in Europe, and now it's in the United States, and it's growing like hotcakes. It's great. So it's called ArchiCAD, ArchiCAD, ArchiCAD. It costs the same as Revit, pretty much, but they're constantly improving, and each year when they have an update, there's actually updates, and it's wonderful. So it's a good program. I can't recommend it enough. Do I have a company? Yes, it's Kevin Harris Architect. You can find me online, look at my website, and please check it out. It's Kevin Harris Architect. BIM program, it's BIM. BIM means Building Information Modeling. And 3JRB, thank you for the question.
And what's the difference between that?
BIM modeling is, when I draw a building, I create a three-dimensional program for it, a three-dimensional model, if you will. And in that model, a BIM program is useful not only for designing it, for building it, but actually managing the building afterwards. After you've built it, you can actually introduce, some larger firms with larger buildings, you can even check out, say, the fire extinguishers in a high-rise building. How long has it been since they've been changed? And each one has an address and a name, and you can find them in the building. Or if you're going to tell somebody they need to go change all the air conditioning filters in a high-rise building. Well, where are they? Well, here they are, and these are the sizes that they need to be. So it can be used many, many different ways. But I use ArchiCAD is the program that I use. All right. Can you download it on Autodesk? It's Graphisoft is the program that, or the company that makes ArchiCAD. And I do not use Autodesk software. I used to. I had 5 licenses I wish I could sell to somebody, but it doesn't work that way. But I have been using ArchiCAD for about 15 years now. You used Chief Architect, version 14. Great, Jacob. Chief Architect is fine, but ArchiCAD allows me to build my own shapes, my own profiles, and today, even with my ArchiCAD, we actually do the moldings and we show the owners, the interior designers, exactly what the house is going to look like with all the detail. And then when we get it approved, we add more drawings, and then we give it to the contractor so that even the air conditioning sub can see where the spaces are that he's going to have to run his air conditioning ducts, the electrician, the plumber, and all of those important people that are that I have to rely on to build our buildings. And I admire what they do. Their trades are irreplaceable, but it's important that I communicate to them what we're after. And so I like to tell the subs that when we're doing a set of drawings, that the whole reason, there'll be beautiful drawings, but that's not why we do the drawings. I do the drawings so that the subs can make money. And the clearer we are as an architect with our drawings, the subs can meet at their office, assign tasks to different members of the team, and run out, and they know exactly what they're running into and what they're expected to do, versus calling back, well, what do we do here? This doesn't connect quite like we thought it would, or there's a mistake in the drawings, or what do we need to do? And as an architect, I try and solve all these issues ahead of time. And with the ArchiCAD, we draw. Yes, it gives 2D drawings like this, but it also gives 3D drawings. And so in 3 dimensions, it doesn't lie, because you've got, the roof actually closes, so I can tell you exactly to the 16th of an inch how long a rafter is going to have to be, and that sort of thing. So I really rely on it, and I think it's a wonderful thing. Kevin, I should hire you while you're in school. You're in Ruston, though, aren't you? I'm in Baton Rouge. It's a few hours apart. Anyway, but stop by my office next time you're in Baton Rouge, please. I'd love to meet you. You're a fire inspector for the city, Jacob? Excellent. That's great. I have a nephew who's a fire inspector in Gulfport, Mississippi. So love what you do. Preventing buildings from burning is a very important thing. And
just last week, the importance of a good firewall.
Oh yeah, the importance of a good firewall. Just a couple of weeks ago, one of the local churches had a fire. It's no longer a church. It's now a charcoal pit. It's gone. But the classrooms next to the church did not catch on fire because there was a firewall between the two. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Trevor, welcome. You've been using SketchUp and Layout for most of your projects. SketchUp is a very quick tool. An advantage of ArchiCAD, however, is if I make a change in the plan, it changes my 3D view automatically. Whereas if you go in, say, AutoCAD, and you make a change in plan, it doesn't communicate directly to the SketchUp 3D file. And so you need to resolve it. But for students, it's great. It's great. It's quick. Actually, for students, I recommend the students, it's free for students. Get ArchiCAD and try and learn it. Watch how much easier it's going to be once you learn the program. It's a difficult program to learn, so is Revit. However, once you learn it, you'll be hours ahead, miles ahead of your competition. So let me see. Do you think Apple's Vision Pro devices will be used in your industry? Absolutely. As a matter of fact, you can take the Vision Pro goggles now, and ArchiCAD will allow, you need to sit down because you'll hurt yourself, but you can actually walk through our projects using a Vision Pro. I'm very excited about that. The goggles are a little bit heavy right now, so I can't see wearing them at this point. But that's the first iteration that's out now. But the Vision Pro devices, yes, I see that in the future. And I also see little robots that can squirt out ink on the ground or on the slab and lay out your floor plans as a big, big tool in the future. So welcome, Bradley. Let me see. Could I show some of my three-dimensional drawings? Yes. Does that have BibX on it? That's not mine.
Where's yours? I'll go get it.
It's downstairs by my desk.
Let him know.
All right.
Your trusty assistant.
My trusty assistant will go downstairs to get my iPad, and I'll show you some of my 3D drawings. I absolutely will. Be happy to do that. How can I get this program and design my own house? Well, there's some less expensive programs you can get, like Chief Architect, where you can design your house if you want. The program that I use is ArchiCAD, and it's a little, it's pricey if you're only going to use it once. And the learning curve to learn the program is a bit pricey as well. You can use SketchUp. And Google has a free version of SketchUp you could play with and get an idea of what it's going to look like. But there's some back and forth. Also, if you're designing your own house and you don't have any CAD program, get some triangles, get some pencils, get a parallel bar, and have at it. And you can do it the way I did it for decades before all of this. Now, here is my iPad. And I'm going to pull up I was asked to show some 3Ds. With ArchiCAD, it comes with a program called BIMX. And BIMX shows the building information modeling, and it allows you to show your projects in 3D. And I actually give my clients these same files, as well as my contractors and the subcontractors. I make it available to all of them. So at any rate, let me pull up one of these and see. So here's a house where let me pull it up. See here. See first plan. Okay, for some reason it's not in here. Let me try a different project. 1 second. See here. All right, what I'm doing is looking up one of my projects. Here we go. Now here's a project we're doing. Sort of hide the name of the owner. And this is going to be the first floor plan right here. There we go. So the first floor plan, there's a front veranda, the rear veranda, outdoor kitchen, and wonderful floor plan layout. I press this button here,
Hang on.
and it shows the floor plan in 3D. It grows the walls, if you will. And so here is the 3D views of my house, the house that we did, right? And so my clients can do this on their cell phone. They can do it on their iPad or their computer. So we're lagging? There we go. Looks like we're lagging a bit. Sorry about that. Now, where is this glare coming from? Whoop.
Overhead light.
Oh,
Can
yeah.
light.
Would you turn?
No, it's the
No,
can
no,
light.
no. Oh, turn the can lights off. All right, we'll get this glare off of here. Sorry. All right, so at any rate, this is a 3D of the house. So here it is with just looking at the floor plan. But I'm going to press this button, and now here's the whole house. So in 3D, you can see the house. The owner could walk through it. All right, do I do ductwork architect? ArchiCAD has a ductwork version or component in it, so we lay out our ductwork. Yes, we do. Do I do barn dominium plans? Actually, we're doing a barn dominium right now. This is Kevin Harris with Architect Talk. I do barn dominium plans, and we're working on one now in Gonzales, Louisiana. So let me center this. Here we go. And let me see. But here it is. You can walk through the house, right? See the views. And then here's the kitchen, the various details. And this was early in the process.
What program is this?
This is ArchiCAD, and ArchiCAD translates into BIMX. It's another way of printing the plans, if you will. And I can do the plans here in 2D or 3D. So let's take the elevation. So here's the elevations. And so I'm going to look at the front elevation here. So I'll take that one, and I want to look at it in 3D. So here is the sheet of paper, if you will, and here's the house design. And then the clients can see it this way, or I can go through it, and let's do a section. I'm going to cut the building in half and take a look at it in that way. So here is the, take this section. So here it is. Now I'm going to, you can see the piece of paper where this is drawn. See how it's drawn? It's a 3D model. But the drawing is just taking a slice through it, like you take a potato and you cut it in half, and then you make a stamp. But the drawing here shows, here's a sheet of paper in front, and then the model is in the background. So let's get rid of this, hide it, and now it's just the model cutting in half, you see? So now I can see here's the stairway. So I know that the stairway works. I know that the hallway, the walkways, the door downstairs works, and all of this good stuff. But here's the mantle downstairs, but I can walk through it anywhere you want. Or we go to the site plan, and here is the house. Here's the site plan for the house, and then here is the whole house. I can get rid of the piece of paper if I want. And then here is the model again, you see? And it's just in space, right? On this little floating piece of land. But here's the garage, and here's, detail. It's as detailed as you're willing to put in there. So here's the trim on the roof. And you can see we have all the molding designed. And it shows up in our ArchiCAD model in BIMX. So here's the house. You can look in the house. Here's the dormers, right? And all the detail on the dormers. And it's in 3D. And so I know that they're the right height. I know they're because when I draw this and I make a change in ArchiCAD, it changes in the model automatically. So it's a wonderful program, and I recommend it. So hopefully that answers your question on showing some 3D stuff. Are you in Florida, Mary Bell? I am not in Florida. I have a daughter that lives in Florida, and I am licensed as an architect in Florida. So if you want to talk, please check out my website, which is kevinharrisarchitect.com. And you can see my work. If you want to talk to me some more, you can fill out a little form, and we'll get in touch with you and see where we can go from there. Can I repeat let me see, about the editing?
That you were editing on ArchiCAD and it translates to here?
Yeah, if I edit in ArchiCAD, it automatically changes in BIMX, all right? And so all of these get automatically updated. So
Go for the relationship between ArchiCAD and BIMX.
the relationship between ArchiCAD and BIMX is, in ArchiCAD, we draw all the parts, and we start off in 2D, but we tell the program, when I draw this wall here, right here, it just says schematic. When I draw this wall, I tell this wall how high it's going to be. And so the program knows if I say I want a 10-foot ceiling or a 12-foot ceiling. This house has, I believe, 12-foot ceilings. Then I tell the program how thick the first floor ceiling is going to be, and then what the second floor starting is, the finished floor of the second floor. And so if I decide it doesn't look right, but I want to, a 12-foot ceiling doesn't work, it's too expensive, or let's see what a 10-foot ceiling would look like. Then I can just change it to 10-foot ceiling, and it automatically shrinks everything. And it's coordinated. Now some things are very difficult to change, but things like that, ArchiCAD allows me to link wall starts and stops with other layers. So I could say, it's like on the second floor, since it's a story and a half, the second floor walls go up to the roof and they stop. But then the roof goes up higher to give you more headroom in the center of the room and center of the house. And so what I've done is I've linked the walls on the second floor to the roof. And then so if I change the slope of the roof, the walls automatically grow and that sort of thing. Then I print either to paper or to BIMX. Now, if I print to paper, I print to PDFs, which I can email to the contractor, to the owner, to the subcontractor. We sent a set of plans off today to the contractor, the owner, and some of the suppliers. So it's seamless customer integration. Yes, it is. Can you design a usable living room with a revolving door as a front door? Mm-hmm. I haven't done that, had the need for that, but I'm sure you could. It's going to take up a lot more room than a pocket door or even swinging doors, but yes, you can do that. I'm trying to catch the...
there was one from...
let me see. See, with David, let's see, with a young PM, always learning something new every day. I oversee architects.
I'm sorry.
You got my assistant's moving the question. I can't see it. See, a project manager for a local college. What are some important things you want to share? For a local college, share to who? Share to the students or share to the administration? For a local college,
and engineers.
let me see. You oversee architects and engineers. Oh, excellent. Encourage the architects to use what I call the discipline of geometric composition in all of their projects. So their proportions, they'll look good, and your campus, as a result, will look good. If you go to the LSU campus, look it up online, and the LSU campus, the original architect was named Theo Link. He was a master of design, and he was a master of the Florentine style of architecture, which is what the LSU campus is based on. And every single building is proportioned. and it's beautifully proportioned. And he favored the golden rectangle, which I went through on this rectangle earlier in tonight's discussion. If you go through my TikToks, architect_talk is my TikToks. I did one on a bus stop that I did on the LSU campus, 3 bus stops. And I used the floor plan. This shape of the golden rectangle is actually the floor plan of the bus stop. And on the floor, which is concrete, it's exposed aggregate concrete, you can see these squares. And when I designed it, I thought, okay, the students are going to figure out very quickly that it's a chambered nautilus. And to my dismay, I realized that the students didn't see it automatically. They just wondered what all the squares were. It was interesting. But then if you show up, I show up every once in a while, and I'll have a big piece of chalk, and I'll draw the golden rectangle in there, and then they get it. They get the chambered nautilus effect. Anyway, but my advice to the project manager is, if you catch the architects before they finish their designs, encourage them to design using more discipline and geometric composition.
And get the drawings in PDF so you can read them forever.
So have I tried Chief Architect? No, I haven't tried it, but I've seen it, and I've a lot of draftsmen use Chief Architect, and to me it's a little bit limited on what you can do. Of course, we're into classical architecture and traditional architecture, and so the a lot of the curves and shapes that you get with that type of architecture, we have to actually create those shapes to put into ArchiCAD, and ArchiCAD helps me do that. A lefty, yes, I'm a lefty, absolutely. I'm in my right brain. All right. The program I use is ArchiCAD, and it interfaces with a component that's called BIMX, B-I-M-X, and it's building information modeling, sort of exhibited, and it allows me to do the 3D parts. So here's the 3D parts, and it shows very clearly, and it allows the owners to walk through the floor plan. I cannot tell you how often I get a client who loves my floor plan, they love talking to me, but then I realize they have no clue what I've designed for them. And so when I do this, they see it, and they get it all of a sudden, and they comment, and they even trust me more, which is great. All right. Do you have any suggestions on courses you could use, some extra learning lessons? Sure, at what level? There's study ArchiCAD or study, there's so much on the internet. Actually, if you want to study classical architecture, check out classicist.org, and it's the Institute for Classical Architecture and Art. It's their website, and there's all kinds of resources and lectures. Many are free. Most are free, actually, to introduce you to the elements of classical architecture and even how to draw it. Or if you're in a state that has a chapter for the Institute for Classical Architecture and Art, there are 15 across the country. Get involved with them, join their organization, and then go to their lectures, because they're all about teaching this stuff to architects, interior designers, landscape architects, craftsmen, and people that just like nice buildings. So let me see, before the technology, did people design house plans by hand? Yes, I design house plans by hand.
Yeah, you haven't told me tonight how old you are.
I didn't, I'm 69, I'll be 70 in July, and I went through undergraduate and graduate school without computers, right? It was all by hand. I actually had, I don't know where it is now, I wish I had saved it. I used a slide rule in college to do my engineering courses, all right? So it was, my Christmas presents when I was an undergraduate at LSU. One year it was a Texas Instruments calculator that didn't even have the value of pi on it, which I needed for my engineering. So I wrote on the back pi to, I don't know, 5 or 6 decimal points. So that was a big help. The next year for Christmas, what was my present? An electric eraser, all right? To which one of my uncles laughed and said, Kevin, you plan on making a lot of mistakes? Well, when you're in architecture, yes, you make lots of mistakes or you want to make adjustments. And so an electric eraser was kind of like a it spins a long eraser bit like a point, and you could very carefully erase things. But anyway, it was a very important tool for me. The Golden Mean, interior architect here. Wonderful. Sandy's, welcome. Please check out the Institute for Classical Architecture and Art and interior designers and interior architects. Wonderful. You will find that if you can discover how you can find this geometric composition within the buildings that you're doing the interiors for, it's going to make your work so much better. Is architecture art or engineering? That's a good question. Vitruvius, who wrote a book for Caesar Augustus back in 60 BC, he said there's 3 components of architecture. One was, in Latin, was firmustas, which means it needs to be firm. The second one was comostas, which was it needed to be commodious. It needed to house a function. And the third requirement for architecture was venustas, which is the qualities of the goddess Venus, beauty. And so, yes, architecture is engineering, it's construction, and it is art. Absolutely. All 3 combined. So a very good question, Nico. You're dealing with structural issues and can't find an engineer. In many cities, there's engineers that could help you, that will do smaller projects. An architect, yes, an architect can help you with certain structural issues. It depends what it is. And they may refer you to an engineer or another architect who's happy to do it. When I was in school, all of my engineering courses were taught in the engineering department because at LSU, architecture branched out of the engineering department. So it started with engineering, and then it became architectural engineering, then it became just architecture. But our courses in engineering were taught by the engineers. Excellent. I wish it was the same way today. It's not, unfortunately. So I don't hesitate to size a beam or a foundation, but many architects don't have that background, which is unfortunate. Okay, let me see. The Golden Mean has nothing to do with feng shui. Feng shui is its own set of rules to create beauty, and it's
You took a course.
I took a course in it. I got certified in feng shui, and when the final project for our course certification was to design a house and lay it out, and of course I didn't have any problem doing it, and then I had more of a problem explaining in feng shui terms why this is the way I would do it, but it is some good things to learn with feng shui. I don't bring it to the point of religion, but by the same token, the golden rectangle, I don't bring that to the point of religion either. But in past civilizations, that was a religion. So anyway, let me see. Is your wife feeding you the lines? Many times she does, yes. And I've learned to say, yes, my love, we'll do this. But at any rate, that's a lot of these lines would just be making them up as I go, or answering your questions and trying to explain these things. It's the way at Texas A&M, 4 semesters of structural. Excellent, excellent. I admire Texas A&M. Wish LSU. I'm leery of Texas A&M whenever LSU plays you guys in football. But at any rate, love the school. And actually, I did a house for let me see, the son of one of the former commandants at Texas A&M. I did this house on Lake Travis, actually, decades ago. So if you look at the Last Supper painting, the golden mean is evident. Yes, it is. Look at the Creation of Venus painting. Golden rectangles there too. And a lot of classical paintings, lots of them. The golden rectangle is there, and it is just beautiful. So it helps with composition of a single piece of art or of a whole building or of a whole landscape. So just following the rectangles and the proportions won't get you there. You've got to have an eye for it, but it will get you there super close, real quick, and then you can make the adjustments that are necessary. You've been an architect for 30 years, Keith. Welcome, and registered in 2 states. That's great. Registering in 2 states is a plate full. That's 2 plates full. Good luck with it. I hope you're doing great. I've been an architect for 42 years, 43 years, I guess now, and loving it. Hopefully I'm not slowing down. When I travel more, that's the only reason I'll slow down. At any rate, but I want to keep at it. This is fun. All right, how do you deal with roofs? I can't stand overbearing proportions. Oh, granted. Well, this particular house, we added a roof to it, dormers to it, or I proposed dormers to it, and here's kind of a sketch showing where the 3 dormers should go for the owner. And I centered them with these, you see, I extended this golden rectangle line up and this one up, and came up with a division of 3, matching the 3 squares, and that's what we actually built on the house. So, too much roof, so you needed some structure to it, or some visual relief to it. And the funny thing is the house now, the neighbors think that's how it always looked, which to me as an architect, I tell my clients, if I renovate your house, give me a call when your relatives say, okay, I can tell the kitchen's new, but where's the old and the new? Where's that line between, And if they can't tell, then give me a call, because my work was successful. I think it should just be a nicer, bigger house and not necessarily bigger, just a nicer house if you do a good job. Is having strong math skills necessary in a career in architecture? There's certain math courses you have to take, and it's the discipline of the math that I think the professors are after to make sure that you can do those things, simply because architecture in a lot of schools branched out of the engineering department. What's really necessary is that you understand enough of the math to get the proportions right. And but as far as math, I use math all the time in architecture. And when I was in high school, I said, well, I'm really good at math, I'm really good at art. So what puts those 2 together? And it was architecture. So, I know some very, very good architects who are very talented, and the bane of their existence was passing calculus in college, but they finally made it through. Which for all of us, it's a good thing they did. What are the load points under those dormers with the windows in the way? Well, the load points are on the dormers are supported by the rafters, which is the roof, and we ended up doubling the rafters structurally so that it worked in this particular house. So it carried the extra load of the dormers, but that's where the load goes. And then there's a wall underneath the dormers, which helps support the roof as well. So, any other questions? Let me see. Do I work with AutoCAD? No, I work with ArchiCAD, ARCHICAD. Edwin, you're required to take trigonometry. One of my favorite courses in high school was trigonometry. I loved it because it was resolving triangles, and I just love it. I'm also a sailor, and on a sailboat, I when I was racing sailboats, actually in high school, I was taking physics and trigonometry, and was doing my homework on deck. And the owner of the boat, we were staying on the boat because it was, races Saturday and Sunday. So we stayed on the boat Saturday night. And the owner said, well, I know a little bit about physics and a little bit about geometry or trigonometry. And so he helped me. And turns out that my physics professor was talking about a genius he knew that was vice president at LSU. And he gave on our final exam a question, and it's a cold temperature physics question, and I knew the answer. It's when helium, when you supercool helium to a certain degree, and it's the name for the point, and it's called lambda point, and that's the helium will, if it's in a vessel, it'll jump out of the vessel into the bowl next to it. It's till the levels are the same. It's weird. At any rate, I knew I was the only one that got the answer right on the question for the final exam, and then the physics professor realized that the only way I could know that was I knew Dr. Reynolds, and so I had to dodge in a racer when he threw it at me. But at any rate, yes, I had some very good instructors for trigonometry and geometry and physics in high school and college. So the late night agent.
Don't look at it.
Okay, I was looking. Let me see. Yeah, in college, AutoCAD and ArchiCAD are free. So if you're in school, you can get the programs for free. The courses, I'm not sure about AutoCAD, but for ArchiCAD, there is a ton of courses that are free and they're on YouTube. So check it out. It's wonderful. At any rate, thank you very much. Your whisperer is hungry. That's my assistant over here. I'm hungry too, so it's time to go. We'll see you on March 18th, where I'm going to interview Matt Imperato, who's architect_talk. I'm architect talk, but we're going to have two architects talking. I'm going to interview Matt, and we're going to talk about architecture, how we got into architecture, and what we do. And so please tune in March 18th at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. See you then. This is Kevin Harris with Architect Talk Live. It's 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. See you then. This is Kevin Harris with Architect Talk Live.